Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to my Facebook live show. So I am going to give everyone a couple of minutes so that we can all get together, and maybe some of you are still trying to figure out the technical part of it. So joining me, and if you're signing up for the first time, go ahead and put it in the comment. Good morning. Tell me good morning. Just I'll give you a minute to sign up and come and join and watch my live show. And thank you so much for coming. I'm Michelle. For those of you who's visiting my page for the first time, I'm Michelle Quay, and I am a confidence and leadership coach. I work with negative self-talkers to help them to release that fear of judgment so they can really step into their true personal power and authenticity. So in other words, I work with individuals to help them to become the most confident person in the room. And in this case, in front of the camera. So if this is your first time joining me, welcome. And if you're watching this on Facebook, then your chances are you're watching this live. So go ahead and tell me where you're coming from, and also give me a shout out. Good morning. So let me know where you're coming from and just send me a message. Say good morning. Hi, Michelle. I'll wait a couple of minutes for everyone to show up. If you're watching this as a replay, I want you to put in the comment replay. So let me know that you were here, you're watching this video, that you're coming here to learn what I have to offer. So go ahead and put that in the comment. Good morning, everybody. So today the topic is, boo, cut that out, how to quiet your mind. And this is a topic that I am very passionate about. And I think a lot of us go through a lot of our moments throughout the day where we have that constant monkey mind that's racing in our head. So from the time, if you were to think back, from the time that you got up this morning up until the minute that you click the link and come and signed up to my event, hi Hannah, good morning. Have you count how many thoughts went through your head into your mind just now? So the research showed that on average, everybody go through 70,000 thoughts per day. And if you calculate that out, that's about 3,000 thoughts per hour, or 48 thoughts per minute. So we're going through 48 thoughts per minute. That's okay, Hannah. No one is judging about the name typo right now. Thank you so much for coming. So if you were to calculate out how many thoughts that we go through per day, it's massive. It's huge. It's no wonder many of us feel exhausted by the end of the day. Our brain has constantly fired at that so many freaking times. So I hear you. I feel tired just hearing myself saying that I am tired. So if this sounds like you, then great, you are at the right place. So if you're watching this as a replay, or if you're joining me live, go ahead and put in a comment. Good morning, everybody. So again, if you're visiting my page for the first time, my name is Michelle Quay, and I'm a confidence and leadership coach who works with negative self-talkers to support them in discovering their inner strength and beauty so they can become the most confident person in the room. Whether you are in front of an audience or doing a live show like what I'm doing now, I want you to show up in the world being the best version of yourself. So what inspired me to do this is this whole work came from my own journey as a person living with permanent disability from a car accident when I was 11 years old. This accident took away my chance to look normal. I'm 4 feet 4 inches tall. I walk with crutches. My legs are disfigured. But having this physical challenge is not the most challenging part of my life. It's the mental chatter that I was living with made it all the matter worse. I was ashamed of my own body. I never felt like, my picture, I don't like my picture being taken. And many times, I just can't even look at my own picture. I have friends who send me picture and I would just quickly score them out and push them aside. I never downloaded any picture from my parents' camera because they're all picture of showing my whole body figure. I felt really ashamed of that. I never liked those internal messages that I was sending myself. I was constantly beating myself, shaming myself the whole time. And I lived 30 years of my life like that, constantly putting myself down, shaming myself the way I look, and judging myself because I don't look like everyone else. So if I were to write a book describing how poorly I had treated myself through these conversations I had about myself, I would probably call it Perfectly Normal, an immigrant story of making it in America. And by the way, it is available on Amazon and also on my website. So today, if you're like me, where you notice that you keep beating yourself up for mistakes in your life, you questioning your skills to perform or to reach success, then this event is made for you. After all the reason why we're saying we are our worst critics, and indeed, we are our worst critics. So I wanted to take you back to a time in March. So back in March, I was invited to a corporate event. And before we had this lockdown, I was delivering a signature energy leadership speech, a presentation in front of a large group of corporate people. It was a 2-day event, and I had over 50 people per day watching me from the audience. And during the workshop, one of the exercise, in order for me to demonstrate this energy, how energy works, the concept of energy, I got someone from the audience to do a demo with me. And as we approached to prove the point behind the energy, this person got quite upset and he decided to walk out of the room. So I was in total shock. I was, oh my gosh, what do I do? And this is a perfect example of where our monkey mind begins. It's when we experience something that's unfamiliar, something that's scary, and something that's uncomfortable, and we're not sure what the outcome or result would be, our ability to come up with the ways of coping this situation is many times we create stories, which make the matter even worse. So today, I wanted to share a couple of points where you can actually use it on a daily basis to help yourself to quiet your monkey mind. I call it monkey mind because it feels like there's a monkey in our head just constantly racing and grabbing our ability to function and to perform. So the first point is I wanted to bring us back to the foundation of where it all started. So let's talk about where it all began. If you were to think back a time when you first understand language, what was the first thing that your parents kept telling you? And perhaps it was something like, well, don't worry about this. You can go out and try new things. Or it sound more like this. It sound like, don't fall because you're going to hurt yourself. Or when you get older, it sounds like this. Don't love someone so easily because it's going to break your heart. Or maybe it's something like this. Don't buy so much because you're going to be broke. So that's right. We were all taught to fear. Early on in our life, we learn to fear. We understand fear, and we were introduced to the concept of fear. So what is the number one step that you need to quiet your mind? It's to get to know your fear. Is your fear real? What are you telling yourself when you're being afraid? What are you afraid of? Is it what you're afraid of something real? And there's an acronym about fear, right? So it's about facts appear. What is it? How did that go? The fear is facts appear real or something like that, right? I can't remember the acronym because I don't use the acronym. So understanding your fear, you would know that the fear was something that was taught to us. We were trained to fear, to be afraid. And we were trained to look at fear as something that's very unpleasant. We want to get rid of, and that we don't want to have any part of it. So what do you do with fear? Which brings me to my point number 2. What do you do with that fear once you recognize it? So once you know that you are afraid and you know that you have this feeling of fear, what do you do with it? Here's the tip. Once you recognize the fear and it is in front of you, what you need to realize it is also you have a choice. There's 2 choices behind every fear. False evidence appear real. Yes, Hannah, thank you. So that's the acronym. Thank you, Hannah. False evidence appearing real. That's right. So once you recognize, these fear, what do you do with it? And in that moment of time, what you have is actually choice. Now you have a choice. What are your choices? You can keep running away from fear, which many of us do. We keep avoiding it. We keep walking away from it because it's unpleasant. It's not good to live with it. So we walk away from it. Or the other way around, which I find more effective, is by walking with it. And I say walk with it because that's what I want you to do. I want you to walk with it. It's your BFF, your best friend. Your fear is part of you, just like your happiness. It may be something that you want to get rid of. It's scary, it's mean, and it's evil. But when you keep thinking about pushing the fear away, you're actually giving fear more power. And fear works just the opposite. The more you resist it, the more power it has on you. So instead of telling you to get rid of it, which many people would say, well, Michelle, how do I get rid of this fear? Instead of telling you how to get rid of it, I want you to start embracing it. Walk with it. And maybe this fear is so strong that you need to seek expert help or pharmacotherapy. But can you see now that you have a choice because you understand your fear? You can make a choice. And you can choose not to fight it by yourself alone. Whereas if we don't call it out, we would have never thought about seeking help. So don't fight it, because the more you fight it, the stronger it will become. So the point number 3 is there's a phrase that goes, fake it till you make it. And there's another portion that I personally added it, fake it till you make it, or you can face it till you get it. And the way that here's how that works. So we go through a lot of experiences in our life, and so here's something that I've learned from working through my own self-doubt. I'll use my example to share this with you. This is something I've learned from working through my own self-doubt and fear and lack of confidence. So I kept seeing the problem over and over and over again. And because it was the same experience keep repeating itself, and the same problem just kept showing up in many different ways and different forms with different people. But ultimately, it's all about my own confidence. It's all about my self-esteem. It's about recognizing who I am. So it makes sense why some problem just keeps showing up over and over and over again, until I started to recognize the pattern behind this. So in order to help you to break that pattern, I'm actually giving away a free copy of my judgment journal. So I actually have a link right now in the episode notes. You can download. So if you go to my website at elevatelifecoaching.com/download, I want you to go ahead and, and you can go to my website, or you can just, actually leave in a comment, say, I want this, and I will be happy to send you the homework assignment to you. So this judgment journal, it's a 52 weeks journal. it's open blank spreadsheet where you can write down your days, your planner. You can use it as a planner. But what's unique about this judgment journal is that in this journal, I have listed empowering questions and questions that will draw out the way that you're currently seeing yourself and seeing the world. So there's a lot of questions that talk about what you're currently seeing, what lenses are you currently wearing. And what I also do is give you ways. So there's two, for each judgment that you catch yourself having, this criticism that you catch yourself having, write it down. And in the journal, I asked you to come up with 2 different ways of looking at the same thing. So you can either go to my website to download a copy for yourself right now, or if you leave me a comment, I want this, I will reach out to you and send you a copy. And it's completely free. I usually have it out on Amazon and people can purchase it, but this is a free event, and as you can tell, I'm really passionate about this, so I wanted to give it to you for free. So type in I want this and I will send it to you personally. I will send an email to you. So to summarize, to just recap, what are the 3 points that I have shared today? So number 1 is we need to understand where that fear began, right? If you were to think back a time, when did that fear first appear? Let's go back to it. Why did the fear appear? Is it something there it has a purpose? What was that purpose? So going back and understanding where it all began will help us creating that awareness of how to silence it. And step number 2 is once you recognize this fear, what do you do with it, right? So in order to work with it, you have to embrace it. You have to take your power back instead of giving it power by pushing it away and avoiding it. If we keep avoiding it, chances are the problem is not going to be addressed. And number 3, the most important thing is creating that awareness around the judgment. Like, what is it about that fear that feel uncomfortable? What is it about the action that you're taking makes you feel fear? And let's go back and look at how we interpret, how we understand our own fear, and how can we come up with different way of reframing it? How can we come up with different way of saying the same situation again? And that would help us understand what's going on in our mind. One of the biggest challenges I was going through was that constant internal dialogue I was having with myself. It's always in a very negative and critical way. I actually gave it a name. So I called it our Judgy Juggerson, or sometimes I call it JJ. Sometimes my JJ is so strong that I'm just constantly judging myself and making comparison of myself to other women, other human beings. And it kept me playing small and feel ashamed the whole entire time. And what I realized is that it was because I was afraid. And what was I afraid of? I start to dive into deeper in terms of what was the trigger for me to feel afraid. And it turns out that I was afraid of being seen and being known. I mean, shocking, right? Like, we all want to be seen and be heard and be known. But I was afraid of that because for me, being seen and being heard, it means that I stood out. And when I stand out, I look very different physically. And I was afraid of being different. I was afraid of not being able to do the things that every other people do. And it was just very draining. And there's a lot of mental chatter that was going on. So going back to the story I shared with you earlier, where I was delivering that speech in front of 50 people, these are all corporate people, and they look very serious. They have a mission, they have a goal. So standing there, and when this whole incident had happened, the person had walked out of the room, and there I was on the stage. I didn't know what to do. But when that person walked out of my workshop, I was shocked. And I didn't let the story get into my head. This person I recognized as someone who was going through something very different in her life that I couldn't have known before I got onto the stage. So that incident was not about me. And so instead of creating stories in my head, I was able to catch it. I was able to catch it and take my power back. And quite honestly, I think many people would actually stop the class because it would just be too much emotionally to handle. So many times people would stop the class and then just call it a day, right? But instead of doing that, instead of feeling and letting my fear run away, letting our internal message to run away, and questioning our ability to deliver a presentation, you handled it with ease, with elegance. You don't let the story taking the course of its where it wants to go. So the truth is that it's not the skills, it's not your talent, it's not about you that you don't have or have that's stopping you from reaching your goal and wanting to achieve something in your life. It's the stories that you're telling about yourself. So the problem is not how tall you are, how smart you are, how much money you can make. The problem is you, that voice in our head. You've been told so many times that you're not good enough. And you start to believe those messages that we keep hearing. Well, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. So you start to believe it. So if you feel that you're ready to take your own power back and taking ownership of yourself and be more confident, then go ahead and write down in the comment, I want this. And I will reach out to you because tomorrow I clear out my calendar and I am offering free consultation to everyone who's ready to take charge, to step into their true authenticity and their personal power, because they're done of hearing all these busy minds. They're done living that life playing small and not being seen. I spent 30 years of playing small and giving my power away. I call it the superpower. My superpower, I kept giving it away because of this busy mind. How many years do you have to learn what I have learned? So go ahead and put that in the comment. I want this, and I will reach out to you and we can schedule a call so that I can help you fast track this whole process. 30 years. How many years do you have? Thank you so much for coming. And if you're watching your replay, make sure you type replay in the comment. Let me know that you were here. And those of you who joined me live, thank you so much for coming to the event. I hope you walk away with something that's very tangible and something that would help you to create awareness. And again, if you want the free copy of the Judgment Journal, go ahead and visit my website at elevatelifecoaching.org/download, and you'll be able to download a free copy. Or if you can just leave me a comment, I want this, and I will reach out to you. Not only will I give you a free copy of the Judgment Journal, but I will also reach out to you so that we can help and work with each other to support you fast tracking this whole process. So thank you so much for joining in, and I will see you next time.